Hi, welcome to my video on solve by factoring or square root property. So far in the previous two videos, we discussed the factoring method and the square root property. So let's do two of them at the same time. So if you get a question on factoring or solving a quadratic equation, then you can do it by either or as your choice. Notice that there's no x, so b is 0 in each of these questions. B is 0 because the x is missing. Again, b is 0 because the x is missing. So let's solve by factoring. Factoring is look for the GCF if there is one. So I see a 2 that's common to the two of these terms. So 2x squared divided by 2 is x squared. Negative 2x divided by 2 is negative 1. And we have a difference of two squares here. So x squared is x and x. 1 is 1 squared, so it's 1 and 1. Because the product is negative and the sum is 0, we have a plus and a minus. So we have x plus 1 equals 0, or x minus 1 equals 0. So x is equal to negative 1, or x is equal to 1. And notice the 2 is not counted into it because you can't say 2 equals 0. So the 2 is a constant that we don't use as one of the roots. And the square root property means you're going to solve it for x squared first. So 2x squared equals 2. And we divide each side by 2. So x, they cancel. X squared equals 1. So the square root of x squared equals plus or minus the square root of 1. So x equals plus or minus 1. And we get the same answers if you factor or the square root property. Number 2, solve it by factoring. First rule in factoring is look for the GCF. I see a 5 and a 5. 5 is the factor of 45, so let's take out the negative 5. Negative 5x squared divided by negative 5 is x squared. 45 divided by negative 5 is a negative 9. So we get a negative 5. And again, we have the difference of two squares. So x squared is x and x. Factors of 9 are 9 and 1, or 3 and 3. And we use 3 and 3, and with a plus and a minus, because the product is negative 9. And notice that the middle term is 0x, so they add up to give you 0. So x plus 3 equals 0, or x minus 3 equals 0. So x is negative 3, or x is 3. And again, we do not consider the negative 5 because it won't give you a 0. And the square root property is we solve it for x squared. So 5x, negative 5x squared equals negative 45. Divide both sides by negative 5. And x squared, they cancel, they give you 1. And for negative 45 divided by 5, negative 5 is 9. So the square root of x squared equals plus or minus the square root of 9. The square root of x squared is x, plus or minus 3. Again, the same answers. Number 3, x squared minus 6 equals 0. We want to factor. And notice now, we have no GCF, but it's an x squared, so an x squared is x and an x. X and x. The product is negative 6, so it must be a plus and a minus. So this is the difference of two squares. It's x squared minus its root 6. That's going to be squared. Root 6 squared is 6. So that's a root 6 and a root 6. So x plus root 6 equals 0. Or x minus root 6 equals 0. So x is negative root 6, or x is root 6. And we're going to solve it by the square root property. So x squared equals 6. The square root of x squared equals plus or minus the root of 6. X equals plus or minus root 6. So notice the root of 6 is 2 times 3, so you can't simplify it any further. And we're going to do number 4. Two ways. we're going to factor the GCF of 50 and 32 is a 2. We take out the 2, we get a 25x squared. 32, negative 32 divided by 2 is negative 16 equals 0. And again, this is the difference of two squares. Notice it is 25 is 5x squared, and 16 is 4 squared. So it's the difference of two squares. 5x, 4, 4, plus, minus. And the 2 is not counted. You don't look at your zeros, so it's 5x plus 4 equals 0, or 5x minus 4 equals 0. 5x equals negative 4. Divide by 5, so x, 5's cancel, negative 4 over 5. Or 5x equals plus 4. Divide by 5. 5's cancel, so x equals 4 over 5. And we're going to solve it by the square root property, so we're going to 50x squared equals 32. Divide by 50. 50's cancel, give you 1x squared. And 32 over 52 is a GCF, so 2 into 32 is 16. 2 into 50 is 25. So the square root of x squared is plus or minus the square root of 16 over 25. So the square root of x squared is x, plus or minus. Square root of 16 is 4. Square root of 25 is 5. So notice, just comparing the two different methods by factoring and the square root property. Again, all of these is when we have what? Ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, and b is equal to 0, which gives us this equation. And this equation, you can do it by factoring or the square root property, your choice. That's just a review of both. And which method is easier? The square root property, most people gravitate towards when b is equal to 0, when there's no x. If you like my video, click the like button, click the subscribe button, click the notification bell. More videos are coming. Visit my website, www.mathfullyexplained.com, to find more information about me, my videos, and the content. And that's the content that's on my YouTube channel called Math Fully Explained. Thank you for viewing my video. Bye-bye.